Right. Um, cool. So we're live. Really good to see everyone here today, and really excited to have Sam with us from Pory.io to give us a spin around the platform. And it heard some really good things about it over the last few weeks and months since it's been released. And I think we're all pretty excited to get a little bit more of a closer look at it. And I know some of you already have been playing around with it. So yeah, really excited for today's AMA. And yeah, I guess I just pass it over to you, Sam. And actually, before I do that, just to give you guys a little taste for the format, it's pretty similar to what we normally do, but we're going to have sort of Sam will give an introduction to herself and Pory before then entering into a quick demo of the tool, and then a quick live build within Pory, and see how she can sort of push the limits of the tool within a space of 30 minutes or just under. And hopefully we have time at the end for a few questions. So yeah, hopefully that sounds all right. Without further ado, I'll pass over to Sam to give an intro to yourself and Pory.
Thanks, Max. Thank you for inviting me to this AMA. Really excited. So, as here, I'm the co-founder of Pory. Here on this call with me as well as Lini. She's my co-founder. I'm here for moral support and probably to give me shit afterwards for probably screwing things up. But hopefully not. Cross fingers. The demo will go smoothly. So Lini and we started Pory in late April. So our journey has been very short so far. And as Dan has mentioned, it's a really good time to do startups because our job was impacted during when all the lockdown happened. So we were made part-time, and Lily and I were really passionate about no-code tools. And at that time, we were working on a no-code algorithmic trading platform. So when our jobs got impacted, we're like, okay, we're going to take this a bit seriously. Algorithmic trading is kind of like a passion project. It's not going to really get that far in a very short amount of time. So what can we do right now that could help help us actually make us create a startup that could help a lot of people as well. And we decided to go with Pory, and it was inspired by a startup that we worked for last year. They built their entire MVP using Airtable. They validated their idea in about 6 months and went on to raising $1.5 million. So that really inspired us because personally, we've met so many founders who have spent 50 to 100K building tech that got really little traction. So we were like, yeah, I think we can build a platform that can help more non-technical founders do the same thing. And you're probably wondering well, why would it cost so much money? And as a software developer myself, I could say it's because software development is very hard and it takes a lot of time. There's so many moving parts. At the very bare minimum, you have to design the system, you create a database with all the schemas to house your data. You have to set up a backend that's responsible for creating, reading, updating and deleting the data. And then you need to build a front end that's responsible for, it's pretty much your user interface for people to interact with your product. And any of this could take up to 3 to 6 months just to build a very simple MVP. That's a lot of time and money poured into something that you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And this is kind of where Pory comes in. So using existing tools and services like Airtable, you kind of already have your database. It's a visual database. So using Pory, where we've built 6 templates on top of Airtable, suddenly you have your front end, back end, and front end all done, and you can create a site in just minutes, which I'll show you later on. And out of the box, you get search functionalities, filter functionalities, and all you have to do is just literally focus on your content on Airtable. So I guess that's my intro and how Pory happened in a short span of 3 months. It's been crazy. Shall I share my screen and do a bit of a demo?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll just make you co-host to allow you to do that. Yeah, you should be able to do that. All good now.
Cool. So it's desktop one. So over here is Pory.io. Just log in and I'll show you guys how it in action. So creating a site, we have pretty much 6 templates for you to choose from. Give it a name. I'm going to create a job board for this demo because I think with COVID-19, it's quite useful. I've seen a lot of people share like resources around to help people who've lost their job. So I think, yeah, it's a good choice. So these are the 6 templates that I've talked about. On the homepage, you can actually play around with the demo. There's a link. But for now, I will clone this template. And what it will do is it will create, well, it will add our Airtable template into your Airtable account and of what will get populated onto your site. So I guess I should have shown a demo first of what it would look like. Sorry, just backpedaling a little bit. So like onto the demo, like if I just have a look at this, this is like the site that would create once we go back here and see how it works. So the data that we saw in the demo is all here. And if we head back over and just click next, it'll ask you to, tell Pory what the base ID is. So you can see this is what was added into our table. Copy this over. It's a little bit daunting, but it just works like that. And then if you go in, you can see that you can start editing the data of that demo site that we just saw. Like this. Click view site and give it a link. So I already tested before and you can see it's like coming up auto fill. Just create domain. And that's it. You have a site that is live for search and all the records. So I guess like if we head back over to the editor and go here and view data, it'll take you to where you can edit the data. I'm just going to go and delete all this because it's dummy data. Head back over and you can see like it updates straight away. So you never have to tap a software developer on the shoulder again for little changes. And we've got different sections. So you can add different blocks to build out your website. You can edit it really simply, like using a GUI. But I'll touch a little bit more about how to edit things later on. I think one question a lot of you guys are probably thinking is, it's great that you can get a website up running really quickly, but what if I have like an Airtable already? I've got thousands of data. I don't want to copy and paste my data into these generic fields, right? It's just like maintenance, like having to like maintain 2 tables. And this is why I'm really excited to like give you like the first kind of like sneak peek on data mapping. So now we just released mapping a table field, so you can literally bring in your own table. And I'll show you that in a second. So I was thinking, like, what kind of demo can I do like to show you like a real life use case? And I found this spreadsheet. Oops, sorry. I found this spreadsheet that's been circling around in Australia. Someone's like created this Excel spreadsheet of like startups that are hiring in Australia. And then if you have a look, it literally tells you, oh no, close the spreadsheet. Like, because during peak times, like people are going to lose their data and it's just very hard to maintain. And if you have a look, like they even attempted to do a search, which doesn't look like it's working. And even right now at 1 a.m., there's like people on the spreadsheet trying to see like what jobs are available. I'm going to show you how easy it is to import this into Airtable and create a job board that people can start using in Australia. So you can, now I can't remember where to go, but I think you can make a copy, no, not make a copy, but download. Here it is. Let's download this as a CSV. Yeah, let's put here. And now if you head over back into Airtable, you can actually import a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to import that thing that I just stole off the spreadsheet and upload that. You can see like all the data now is on Airtable. It should be like 300 records from memory. Yep. And now if we go back into Pory, you can actually change the base ID. So like where we should get your data. And I'm going to go and grab that base ID. Oh, it's a little trick. If you go help, you can actually go to the API documentation, which will bring you here, which you probably are familiar with from the create a site process. Copy this over, paste it here, and then it will ask you like, what's your table name? So please go back here. It says import a table. I'm just going to call it jobs, so it's easier. Here, jobs, and save that. Oh, you have to do a hard refresh for it to pick up. You'll now see empty rows because it actually doesn't know like what field names it should need to pick up. And this is the feature that me and Looney have been working on and just released, put an alpha tag because there's no documentation. But bear with us in the next couple of days, you should see something a little bit more friendly. And it'll ask you like, oh, okay, so we have our generic field names, title, subtitle, short description. How should we map your data? So we actually pre-fill all of these, like your fields here, and you just pick and choose. So I guess like for my title, I want to show job description. I'll just hit save to show you. Okay, maybe not job description. I think it was, see, I can't even remember what was role, sorry. Let's just do role. I think role's a bit better. So if we hit save, this is where the demo guide is not in my favor because I chose the wrong people. Okay, give me a second. Uh-oh. Alpha. This is why we have an alpha tag.
Internet issues. I think she just
Oh
dropped
my
out.
gosh,
No?
I dropped out. I dropped out. I thought the app crashed. I'm like, why is it not loading? And I freaked out and I realized I disconnected. Okay, continuing on. I don't know if it's COVID-19 and what's happening, but my internet's just been dropping out like crazy.
No worries at all, Sam. Just take your time.
Yeah, I'm trying to refresh my, oh, okay, it's coming back now. Okay, so what have I mapped? Oh yeah, mapped the wrong thing. I think that's what I was up to. So I was supposed to map, I guess it was role. Yeah, so I think.
We're not seeing your screen, Sam.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen. Hang on. Technical difficulties. We need to put that music on. I'll just refresh all this first, just so. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. So what I wanted to map was role, but I think something has like glitched. Give me a second. Let's just make sure all of this is correct. Okay, so that's good. Save it. Louis, do you know why the role is not coming up now after that pickup?
No, just type it in. Just manually type it in.
Oh, okay. So it was mapping
Just
properly
add it,
before, and then yeah. So it can.
And then just select it again.
Yeah. So role and then select that. Or maybe because it was supposed to be up here. So sorry, it's role here. So okay, here we go. So now you can see like the role come in, and then this was supposed to be pre-populated, but I think we're in a weird state now after I tried to save and it crashed. But pretty sure if I do company, not that one, add company, this one. You can see like now you could map your own data to create your job listings from your existing Airtable base. I want to create like a call to action for people to apply. So let's have a look at what that's called. So that one is called, oh, it's pretty lengthy. I'm going to rename it link. So let's do this link. Cool. And maybe like a little bit more detail. So if you have a look at the base that I copied, it doesn't really have like a role description. No job description at all. So maybe I'll put in like contact details. Just copy that. Description. Let's map it to that. There we go. Save. Cool. So now you can see it's got a little bit more information. Can view the live site. So you see the link that I created before. That's your site. You can search for a job. It's got your details, and if you hit apply, it will take you to where the job posting is. Oh, looks like that job's not there anymore. But yeah, so we can even like hook up our own filters as well. So, whoops, I've got the zoom tool covering my screen. How do I get rid of it? Yep, so we can create our own filters. And how this would work is, it's really simple. You can call field names. And this is kind of like, okay, so where does your filter come from? And in our case, it's called state. Sorry, did I do single select? Single select. And that could be Melbourne. Like, so this filters table is kind of all the options for your filters that users can select. And I'll just do Melbourne and Sydney. And that maps to this. So if I head back over here and refresh. Lee,
Field name. Field name.
Oh, field name. Oh my gosh. This is why Linny's on the call. Yes, documentation will be coming, and you can see now, like, that's how easy it is to create a filter for all your data. And it's just so easy to like create resources like this, and it just makes the spreadsheet here pretty much redundant. And then how people could, you know, submit more job listings is for an Airtable form. So by default, like, you can embed Airtable forms. I guess this is like one that came with the template. So to create our own in that base that we've imported over here, we can create a form, and that literally just creates a form using all your fields that was in this view, this table. And like, you literally have a form just like that, and you can change the labels if you like, if you don't like what's been generated. So like, for example, what's field A? I think it's a bad import, let's delete that. Like, and everything is literally in sync. And now if you go and share this form and get an embeddable code, head back over to our editor and hit edit. Like, here you have a couple of options of what kind of buttons you wanna create. Like, you can have your own custom one that can open up a link, your Airtable form, or maybe you want to build an audience, so you can even like hook up your MailChimp list. But for us, I think it makes sense to have an Airtable form. for people to post the jobs, update this content, publish the site. And now this form that's how easy it is to create a form. So I'm going to go and do Pory. I think we need someone to do demos because I'm terrible. Remote. So none of this is required since I haven't made it like compulsory. So you go and hit submit. Cool. Now if I search for Pory, there you go. Do demos. That's also a terrible job position. Got to hire someone to create roles as well. Yeah, so it's really cool. So I guess you can play around with the different sections. Like, for example, probably don't want Pory job. Probably want startup jobs. And startups, hiring, COVID-19. It's like you have some options to style and it just updates pretty much on the fly. Yeah, and I guess that's it for the demo.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Sam. That's really great. Would you mind stop sharing your screen and then we can see everyone? I think then that could be easier for the questions. That'd be great.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Sam. That was really good. Yeah, and the new feature is really cool to see as well. Really excited by that, and be good to get the documentation as well once that's ready. But yeah, I'll just open it up. I guess most of you know the drill. But yeah, just put your hand up or raise it on Zoom if you've got a question, and I'll come to you. Hey Jason, that was swift.
Yeah, that was great, Sam. Thanks. I really appreciate that. And what you've achieved in 3 months is incredible. I was a big fan of the table to site. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. There was a similar kind of thing based on Airtable. I was a big fan of that, and then the development stopped, and I've been looking for something ever since. So this is great. And so yeah, I feel a bit guilty for asking because you've done so much already, but I'm really interested in the features like the views in Airtable, to be able to use views so that, you know, for instance, I'm doing something that involves stock, and when something's out of stock, I want it to hide from the front page. So, you know, interested in when that's come in and what's the development plan. I see you've got the roadmap there. So how long do you think before views in particular will be available?
Really good news, actually, because I was just working with some of our users and they've asked for it. And because we've worked out how to do mapping and all that, views is something that we could do really easily now. And we've let other people know that it should be available this week. So like very similar to selecting what field you want to map to, it would be like, oh, what view do you want to use? I also forgot to like go over like sorting as well. So you can just imagine there'll be a separate section saying view, and that will pull the data from that view for you.
Excellent, that's great news. Thank you.
And I didn't get a chance to play with table to site, unfortunately. Like when I found out about them, it said invite only. And I tried to like ask for an invite and I didn't hear back. So I don't know like what it's like.
I think it stopped. I mean, it was a year ago and they had a roadmap, but nothing changed. And I messaged the guy a few times and I think he just stopped development on it. So yeah, this is great. And you've done a good job. It looks great. It's easy to use. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers, Jason. Dan, I saw you had a question.
Just want to say, thanks for the demo. It was really good. The technical issues I think we're all used to technical issues, and don't worry at all. It was really, really, really great. I've got a couple of questions actually. So the first one is are you going to be releasing more templates at all? And what kind of templates do you think you'll be releasing?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And a lot of people have asked, why did you stop at 6? And I guess because the 3 months in, we had a lot more like bigger things that people have asked for, like supporting existing Airtables and having a sorting, because our like records are paginated and all that. So we had to like work out like the structure of how everything is before introducing more templates, because we're like more different kind of sites to support and whatnot. But actually, like right now, we're at a spot after we release our documentation and do a bit more testing on the mapping. It's actually a good time to explore different templates. We had people talk about like having a template for displaying videos. I'm not sure if you were someone who asked for that as well.
Yeah, that was me.
Yesterday, someone said the same thing, and I gosh, you're not the first person to ask.
Yeah,
that's like something we could do, like exploring different things. People ask about like being able to embed different things like audio as well. But in terms of, you know, we're going to introduce more ways to display different formats, and also different use cases as well. Like now that we actually support more than 2 filters, now that we have mapping, so you can have 10 filters if you like, we can start building templates that are a little bit more complex. Like if you think of Airbnb, like what works really well for them is because you have so many different filters and things for you to find what you're looking for. And we definitely want to explore things like that. Like how can you have a listing where you could filter things down to like, does it have aircon or that kind of thing? So yeah, stay tuned. I'm pretty excited like for what's to come.
Yeah, awesome. And then I had another question, which was with the product hunt template, with the upvotes and I guess there may be downvotes, like is it computated like data? Like how does it figure out whether it's something's upvoted or downvoted? Like is it done in Airtable or is it done in Pory?
Good question. So how it works right now is we actually have a field called upvotes. So when you hit upvote, we kind of take what the current value is and update your value from your Airtable.
Okay.
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dan. I'm just going to come to Luke because I feel like, you may need to go soon. So, any questions if you have them?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, well, lovely to have you both, Sam and Lenny. Thank you very much for the demo. I really appreciate it. It's cool to see the founders of such a tool show it around and show it how it's intended to be. I wonder, I have a couple of questions more like the business side, I suppose, but I wonder what your long-term goals are with Pory.
Yeah. So one thing that a lot of people have asked us for is user accounts. And I feel like on our roadmap, we're kind of moving towards focusing on how can we help businesses, especially intranet. Like if you think about startups and companies, like the internal tools is the last thing that they put money in because that's not where the money is. And as a result, all the intranets and internal tooling is just horrifying. It's like where the interns go, and it's just very like legacy-like. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to like visit, like, okay, how can we like create these tools for companies to, you know, manage their processes, and that would involve user accounts. So a big focus of what's next is introducing that, so then you could put content behind like accounts and also slowly introduce payments as well. So if you want to have content, for example, I don't know, if you wanted to create a course website, then you probably want it behind a paywall, for example. See a lot of opportunity in that.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. And well, we're obviously in the no-code boom right now, or we have been for a little while. It looks like it's going to be that way for a bit longer. Like Jason was referring to earlier, you're not necessarily the first to come up with the idea to turn an Airtable or another type of sheet into an application. And I think there's about 10 other tools right now that do that. And I wonder, how are you planning on distinguishing from these other tools?
That's a very good question. I think it was 2 days ago, I saw Y Combinator just like announced that Stacker, which is doing exactly what we're doing, but years ahead. They're in the cohort and they've raised a bunch of money as well. No, we're not sure. We're not business people, as developers. So we do need some guidance. And And the good news is we do have mentors. So we're part of kind of like an incubator program. They have really great mentors, and they're kind of like holding our hands and like teaching us like, you know, what we should focus on and how to do this. Yeah, still a learning journey. Great question.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess it's still early days to sort of be navigating that stuff, but yeah, I'm sure you'll work it out. And I guess it's testament to the fact that Stacker have done so well that I guess it's a good thing to some extent. Yeah, but I guess just anyone else got any questions? Just jump in if you do. I've got a few myself, but yeah, anyone else?
You go, Max.
Cheers. Again, this is probably more on the business side. I'm just really intrigued because you guys have sort of come from nowhere to then being like all over my Twitter feed, and I'm just really intrigued how you launched it and sort of got such good like early traction, or at least it looks like you've got really good early traction, and just intrigued what your strategy was for that, because that's something that we're trying to help people in the 100 Days community with is launching that sort of disconnect between launching and making, and you guys seem to have done the making and the launching part really well, so just intrigued on the strategy that you use for launching.
Yeah, I think a huge part of it is like what Luke mentioned, that there's like this no code boom. So I think things just started selling itself without like honestly, like when we started our first commit, which was 22nd of April, we just spent like 1 month and we're like, oh, okay, we're not sure like where this is going. Let's just chuck it on Product Hunt. So 35 days, we put it on Product Hunt, and it was horrifying. Like I still can't believe we just put it up there because we didn't think too much about it. Like if you think of the product that we had in 35 days, it was like the facade, and then the rest of the building was just not even there. It's like, oh, this is like a no code, like a platform for you to create sites of Airtable. But like so many people had issues. We didn't have error handling, and people were just bouncing. But it got like 600 upvotes, and we're like, oh my God, we need to take this more seriously. I think there's a demand, and it just kind of coincidentally got into the space that a lot of people like really liked. And I think it's because of this whole movement that a lot of people that were kind of stuck outside because they didn't have the technical expertise suddenly have all these tools to turn their ideas into startups, and it just worked really well. And having the whole no code community on Twitter and people just sharing, I'm getting so many like mentions on Twitter, and it's just been so like overwhelming because me and Looney were like thinking that people were going to yell at us, they're going to be like impatient and be like, why does your product suck? But it's just been so supportive, and I think that's helped a lot in like promoting our product and getting more people to try it, and then us continuously like improving based on the feedback that we've received. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And just off the back of that, any tips for launching on Product Hunt? I've never done it myself, but it sounds like you did that pretty well as well. So any tips would be great. Okay,
so I'm not sure, but I think I'm thinking is I had like a animated GIF of Pory's icon, and it just looked very flashy because it was like bam, 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 all these colors. And I think people like when they're scrolling through, like, oh, this looks interesting. Like, what is it? And it's like Pory. Like, what kind of name is this? I think it just sparked a lot of interest, and then people just clicked on to check out what it was. I think at that time I had a lot of people that weren't that familiar with Airtable as well. It's just like a very specific tool that worked quite well. I also saw someone from Melbourne who like made it to #1. So I kind of like reached out and was like, oh, do you have any tips? Kind of like what you were asking. And he said this, he said to post it at 5:01 Melbourne time. I'm like, okay, that's a really odd time. Like, and then I try to figure out like where that time came from. And I think it's like 12 a.m. where Product Hunt works, and that works well in terms of their algorithm, that you get a full day of exposure. So I did that. I don't know if it helped, but it seemed like it did quite well for our really unpolished product back in May when we launched. Yeah, and I think one thing that also helped a lot was I was part of a lot of Discord and Slack channels around like building things with no code and startups. And I just kind of like, it was really annoying, like thick skin. Hey, help upvote Pory. I just launched it. I don't know if that contributed to people as well. But I think just try like everything and see where it goes. Like even on Twitter, just share like, oh, I just launched this on Product Hunt and this community is so amazing. We'll all help out, upvote and whatnot.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you. Good tidbits there. And sorry, just one more question.
Sorry to interrupt here, Max. I gotta go, guys.
Sure.
Thank you so much for the demo again. If I answered any questions, I'll check in maybe later. Well, I don't think I'll be back for this one, but I'll see you all later.
Awesome.
Okay,
Cheers,
see you, Luke.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, just intrigued. So for some, it looks like a really, really easy sort of intuitive tool to use anyway. But for someone, especially as the 100 Days community is weighted towards people just starting out in no code, how would you go about getting up to speed in Pory in the quickest possible way for someone new to it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't suggest someone that's new to use existing Airtables that they found or importing Google Sheets because it does require mapping. The easiest way is to use the templates that gets cloned into your Airtable, like when I first walk through, because it comes with the 10 sample records, and what you see in our demo is what gets created into your account. And then when you hit publish and view live, and you see the exact same clone. And then when you go over back into Airtable and you start editing the data in the Airtable, you can see it, immediately get updated. And I think when they see that, they just start to connect and learn like, oh, okay, I understand how this works. And then go back onto our platform. There's other customizations. You can change your drop downs and colors and sections. And then I'm always on live chat helping people if there's any issues. I think like whoever's starting out in the 100 days of no code, I'm quite lucky because back then Pory was 100 times harder to use. So hopefully it won't be too difficult today getting started.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, no, sounds good. I definitely think it's a really good tool to start using to get that instant hit of no code goodness straight off the bat. So yeah, I'll be recommending it far and wide for people just starting out for sure. Anyone else got any questions for Sam? Dan, looks like you have. Go for it.
Firstly, where did the name Pory come from?
Good question. Asking the right questions. So do you remember like the no code algorithmic trading platform that me and Looney were working on? So we started that like about a year ago. And at that time we were like, oh, why is everything that's smart named after a male and all the assistants are named after a female? And then we're like, when we're thinking of a name for it, we're like, let's just name it after a Pokemon because there was no gender. So we named it after Porygon, that Pokemon,
Excellent.
which is a digital Pokemon. And then when like our no code algorithmic trading platform kind of got a little bit of traction, we're like, now we're going to get sued by Pokemon. We need to change our name. Like we can't use Porygon. And just between like me and Looney and our friends, we always used to go, what does Pory say? Like, what does Pory say? Like as a short term to see what it says if we should buy or sell. And then we went with the name Pory says. So when we dropped that idea to work on Pory, and names are not our forte, we just dropped the word says and went with Pory, and that was stuck with it. And we're like, okay, well, then we recently found out that Pory does not mean the best thing. It's like a thing with a lot of pause. So we're like, okay, great. Now we're like literally stuck with Pory. So many people know us by it. So it's hilarious how things turned out.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great to have a great story. So yeah, that's an excellent name.
Yeah, Porygon.
Yes, Porygon. And I did have another question, which was, what's the most impressive thing that you've seen in Pory? Like the most impressive use case?
Yeah. So like when we were like working on Pory, we have never used Zapier before. And then we started seeing like sites built on Pory that integrated with Zapier, and we were just like amazed. Like for example, a job board, when someone submits a job, like you could get a Slack notification saying, hey, someone has submitted a job, you should review it before you put it over into your main site content for it to be published. Or if you just have the form linked to your main site content, so when someone submits like a job, you see it instantly, like the demo, then you can use Zapier to share that new job posting with everyone on social media. And I just thought that was so clever. And then seeing like other sites being created, they were like, oh, you know, tweet at this hashtag, just say it's like 100 days of no code. And then suddenly that tweet can just get pulled onto like their site and it's displayed as a record. And we're like, whoa, that's just like crazy. Like imagine like all these other use cases that we could do. And that's kind of sidetracked me to think like, I think it's great if you had a recipe book. Like if I had a bit more time away from product development, I would love to build up like this recipe of things that you could do to automate things on Pory. Like that would be just so fun. And people could just get so creative doing different things.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it's great to hear about the story behind the name. That's awesome. Keep it. Yeah, don't. Well, you can't really not keep it now, but yeah, it's awesome. Mark, over to you.
Yeah, I apologise for turning up late and I missed the start there, but thank you for taking the time and presenting to us. I was just having a look at the roadmap there, and you have got the user accounts item there. What does that actually physically look like with the? Is it if I build something, is it user accounts that I allow on, or is it something? Am I imagining something different now? I wonder if you could just sort of explain what you actually mean with that.
Yeah. So, for example, with a Airtable base, you can have a lot of contributors, and those contributors can essentially have accounts that talk to the same table. That's one kind of use case. So you can build like an internal tool that's kind of closed off from the rest of the world. But for someone that wants to monetize content, like for example, do courses or the like, then you can like let your users create accounts on Pory. So it's kind of like MemberStack, like built into Pory. If you're familiar with MemberStack, it just kind of gives you a way to hide your content behind accounts.
Is that Airtable user accounts, or it is independently controlled Pory accounts?
It'll be individual accounts separate from Airtable, if that's kind of a use case that you need for your product. So there's like different types of accounts that we're thinking of.
That's perfect. That's what I'd be interested in. But would the method of hiding data be the same as MemberStack? Well, I imagine it wouldn't, because it's obviously calling the database there. But MemberStack can't be used for anything that's sensitive. So would your method of user accounts be a little bit more secure?
Correct. It would, because we're like building our own. So it will literally be tied to, just say you've got an account on Pory, and you are obviously the creator of the site, then you will create different roles of how they will interact with your data. So you have more, I guess, flexibility in how you want to hide your data.
Perfect. I haven't actually had a look around, but I'm very keen to capitalise on the capabilities of Airtable. I see you've got Notion accessibility there. Are you waiting for their API to launch to sort of build that out? Correct.
I see that on the roadmap, so I'm like, okay, we'll just put it in there. And once we like master Airtable, we built the platform to be data agnostic. So once we build out all the core capabilities, then putting Google Sheets and Notion will just be an additional data source for us.
That's brilliant. And just one final question, if I might. What's the sort of the time for a return when somebody does something on Pory and then it's updated in Airtable and then presented back out? I do something with Glide apps, and there is quite a lag when something's updated or changed and sent back. You know, it can be up to sort of like 6, 7, 8 seconds. And I was just wondering if you had any experience of the sort of turnaround time with any sort of interaction with Airtable.
With Airtable, it's pretty much instant. As soon as you edit data on Airtable, you hit refresh, that data comes back straight away.
Perfect. And sorry, just one more thing. What about offline stuff? If I edited something offline, would Pory count for that?
No, I don't think so, because you would have to do it like you'll need to save it, and then it needs to talk to our APIs for it to sync. We don't have any of that capability yet.
Is that something that you've thought of?
No, honestly, no.
No, that's fair. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, I've taken up too much time, but I appreciate the great work you've been doing, and I'm definitely going to get stuck in and have a look. And thank you for presenting today as well.
Thank you, Mark. And if you have any more questions, just yell out. Like, I'm really happy to continue answering. Don't have to feel bad.
Amazing. Looks like we've got 3 people that have just quickly come in for some last minute questions. I'm not sure if they're just here to listen in or, but feel free, guys, Nicholas, Julian, or Kenneth, to shout out any questions if you have them. Oh, hey Kenneth.
Sorry, guys. Can you do a quick recap real quick? I know I just hopped in. Sorry, I just came from another meeting. Are we just asking questions about Pory? And I guess what portion are we at right now?
Yeah, just asking any questions you have on Pory. Any questions you have, go for it.
Okay. I guess biggest thing, and I apologize if it's already been answered, like Airtable is, I guess, one of my power tools. Do you recommend any resources other than like looking at the Airtable universe to become more of a power user, so that you can get more benefit out of Airtable and then get more benefit out of Pory?
That's a good question. Luni, what's the best way to learn how to become better at Airtable? Because she's done like lots of learning and learned how to do all these different views and link records and all that, but we haven't really found too much resources that are dedicated to teaching people how to get better at doing that kind of stuff. Do you know any, Luni, that you want to share?
Not so much. I really just live on the community and the documentation page, really. The Airtable documentation and their blog as well. They are built. I know. Well, I can't remember what their blog is. The Airtable blog, where
on the record or off the record or something.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we realized a lot of the content on Airtable was just talking about how companies use it, but it's not like to the level where they tell you like this is how they would organize it. So yeah, it's a bit hard. Like I might have to get back to you if we ever find like really good resources and share it with you.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that. Because honestly, I mean, I'm finding the same thing. So just wondering if you found anything. No pressure. I guess the second question is like, I saw your pricing is like free or monthly. Do you plan on rolling out like a lifetime access or a yearly plan?
Yeah, we're actually working on an annual plan right now. People have been asking us about the early pricing that they've missed. So I'm going to actually share a discount code so everyone can get on board, as I realized like we didn't open the opportunity for long enough. Second one is annual subscriptions, and we're going to introduce like a third tier as well for people that want to have more like one-on-one support and do things that are more catered for like lots and lots of domains as well. So that should be in the next couple of days. That's one thing that Luni has been working on today.
Nice, thank you guys.
Yeah, good questions, Kenneth. Cool. And Nicholas and Julian, any questions from you guys before we wrap up? Nope. Dan,
I have one question, and it's something that I've been thinking about a lot with makers and developers and no coders. Is you two seem to have an enormous rate of releasing features and updates. Like every time you ask a question, it's like, oh yeah, in the next couple of days. And it's so impressive. And it's like, how are you doing that?
Coffee and no
Thanks to
sleep.
COVID-19. Thanks to COVID-19, we're like stuck in our home. We have absolutely no life and nothing to watch on Netflix left. We kind of be working around the clock. So a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, 3 months and this is like where you're at and it's moving very fast. It's because we're like around the clock. Like right now it's like 2 a.m. and still working and still doing this type of thing. But thank you so much, like all the support as well, and being so patient with being like such an early on beta product. So the answer is yes, COVID-19, around the clock, and coffee.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. I think that's a good one to end on, unless anyone else has got any other questions.
I had one quick question. This is Brandon, by the way. My question was on one of the job board template. I noticed that the filtering is very like specific, and you can kind of select based on certain, the options are there, and you just select on that. Is there an ability to? I know that you talked about adding more filters in, but is there ability to kind of customize how that looks, or like searchable filters or things like that? Not sure if that's already on the roadmap, but yeah, just wanted to understand a little more about that.
Yeah, so we have two options for filters. One is to turn them into tags, and one is to have the drop down. If you want it to be searchable, actually, we already support that. I guess I didn't surface it out.
Perfect.
So after this call, I can actually enable it, and you can actually search for filters.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I will do that and let you know. Oh, and also get back to you about our early pricing. It's kind of taken a little bit longer because we never expected to have different plans. So we built the platform with one plan, and
I mean, it's a good plan. It's a good problem to have, right? So yeah.
So we'll get back to you really soon.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, it's been fun kind of using it, and you've made it super easy, and kind of like Kenneth, like I'm pretty more heavy on the Airtable side and the automation side, so I'm pretty excited about like actually building something instead of living in a spreadsheet. So this is nice. So thanks for creating it. Yeah, no
problem. Awesome. Cool. Well, perfect timing. Just like to say a massive thank you guys for sparing your time today and to show us around. It learned a lot. And also really great questions from everyone. Really got a lot from this one. So just thanks so much for being here. And before we wrap up, is there anything you guys want to leave the group with? Anything you want to say before we finish, Sam or Luan?
Yeah. Any questions, just let me know. Any like feature requests or feedback, I would love to hear it. Continuously improving. Also, if you missed our early bird, just DM me on Twitter. Like the discount code is coming really soon as well. And thank you so much for being such a supportive community. Like you have made this journey like so unbelievable, and it's been so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. See you guys all next week, hopefully. And I'm looking forward to all the immense updates that are coming to Pory over the next week, it sounds like, or next few days, whatever it is, or tonight maybe, or tomorrow. See you guys next week, hopefully, and thanks for coming, and see you around.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thanks.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.